good evening. If you're watching this video later after the fact, awesome. Hopefully everything's going good. Ben talked us into some DDO. I have to say, he twisted our arm super hard.
He said he was feeling a little off, so I recommended DDO since it was less thinking involved.
So, for the record, that haze is the haze that I've been living in for like 7 years. And since I started seeing this new doctor, I get like windows where that haze is lifted. And primarily, the haze is lifted about the first hour or so after treatment, really heavily, and then it takes a while. Like, I feel it coming back in, right? Like, they really do say it's like a haze. And it really is. I'm trying to figure out where this comment... I got a comment from Dallas, who joined us last night. It popped up on my phone, but I can't read it all. All I can read is like the first word where it says, the first few words where it says, I was grabbing aggro. I don't know when, I don't know where. So thanks, YouTubes. Thank you very much. Oh, here we go. Alright, it's on last night's video. I was grabbing aggro so you could kill LOL where there's smoke. Ah. That's probably when he was out and I was like, just stay behind the building. That's what God wants you to do. Anyway, it's all good. Hello and welcome. Hopefully people will start trickling back in. When we lost Witty, I don't want to say I lost my mojo, but I lost like my reasoning to continue to do what I was doing.
Well, you had a rough couple games, sounded like.
Oh, I don't mind winning or losing. Like, I like to win. I prefer to win. I don't have to win. That's not... Like, I don't go into a game and expect to win. Unless I'm on Gaslow, in which case then, duh. But, it's one of those situations where, you know, I play HOTS with my friends. Like, it's a communal game. It's free to play. We all can play together. I like to get the awesome things out of it, you know? But we don't have to do anything. And it's not like a DDO or another MMO where character development's really important and gear is really important. Let's see. I think we want to go to House P right now. So like a game like HOTS is really easy because that's all you. Right? The characters all stay the same. It's all your same skill. So it's just a matter of how much you learn. So, like, for example, Ben gets really frustrated sometimes because he doesn't have as much time mostly time to put into a game like HOTS to learn and practice and play and really hone those skills. Where other games, it's a whole lot easier to play with people, although you're grinding out gear and doing stuff, right? So, I get it, I understand it. It doesn't mean it works for me. So I basically play those games to hang out with Witty or Dustin or LJ, etc. So when Witty took off, that's where I was just like, you know, I don't need to be sitting here grinding out this hot stuff. Not really. Not really. And then, you know, of course, I decided to go ahead and play a couple. Or I should say, I played one more after the fact. Just to get to the... Wow, is the game gonna die on the first loading screen? Like basically the first loading screen? No, come on. Come on. Nor do I see my stream up in the game being played, but that's okay, I guess. We'll give it another second and we'll restart the game client, I guess? What the heck? Kill Blizzard. All the rest of that stuff's important. Alright, well, you know what? I guess we're gonna kill it, try again. Fuck-a-dong! Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened. Game client died. I'll be switching games anyway.
Unusual?
I mean, it's not uncommon for DDO to have a freeze, but it typically is...
Well, just at the same time, I also saw that you went offline from Blizzard.
Yes, I manually killed it during that time. In case there was some sort of like memory dump issue or something going on. Alright, do I still my dog? Doesn't look like it, which means the dog didn't get its buffs back, or doesn't have its buffs. Oh, whatever. Unless the dog's outside, the dog might be out here, like, frozen. Stepping out the kangaroo, just killing things. Let's bring up the task manager and take a look at things here. Chrome is eating everything. Alright, so we're going to kill all our monitoring stuff. Now it says DDO is eating a lot of the memory space, but not everything still. Hang on, I thought I had... Let me get... I'm gonna make a quick change here while this is still screwed up, basically. Oh, I got all sorts of stuff crashing over here all of a sudden. I don't understand what's going on. Oh, did you open over here? Is that what happened? Okay. So that closed all of our... Alright, so Chrome is down. I'm restarting Chrome now. I'm going to restart DDO now. Man, I do not know what's going on. Everything is just poop in the bed. Alright, let's try this again. Microsoft Edge is faster than Chrome. How exciting for you, Microsoft Edge. How exciting. Alright. Sorry guys, I literally do not know what's going on. Why this has decided to be such a pain. Alright. Pause. Alright, now that everything's running, are we okay? Alright, I'm gonna try one more time to step out into Tangleroot here. We'll run around at 2 seconds. There we go, we got a blue bar, folks. Wow, okay, well I have no idea what happened. But that was crazy. I'm trying to... Alright, my bolts are still there, so we're gonna chalk everything up to being fine. Oh my word. I had a bin-like moment of technology failure right there. Alright guys and gals, are people trickling back in now that we've had like 5 minutes of black screen?
I see one viewer.
It's probably you. Actually, you know what? I don't think you count as a viewer, to be honest. It's not that. It's that you are a moderator, and I don't think moderators count as viewers. Even if you are viewing. Well, I told everyone I'd be back around 10:30, I think. Kind of looks like my YouTube may be stuck. Nope, it's working. Okay. I'm not sure what's eating all the memory all of a sudden also.
But you're supposed to reset your computer at least once a year.
I mean, it's been off this year. I mean, I close everything and everything falls back where it's supposed to be. But for some reason, starting things now, it's running. It's like DDO is running hotter than it should. How about that? That's a way to put it. Dallas is back, so I assume everything means that that's working. So we had a whole big old group of drama earlier today. I don't know if I already told you or not, Ben /chat. But I'm going to reshare now in the hopes that it fills some dead air. But, you know, we switched a few weeks ago to this, TV went out right after the new year. So we rotated to a projector. You know, there's a lot of perks of a projector over a regular television. And pretty pleased to get one. We found one that's a reasonable price. Good video quality. LED bulb instead of a regular bulb. Even though it doesn't have the highest like CNET rating, which is what I was kind of basing everything off of, it was good. It was all right.
Yeah.
We get the first one. All right, we're now on number 3. So we get the first one.
Oh wow.
And everything hooked up, everything was working fine, but it was never as sharp as we thought it was going to be. And we started to notice that there was a black spot in the projector. So clearly there was something in it, right? Probably throwing everything off. Manufacturer defects happen. No big deal. So we talked to them, and Amazon goes, "Hey, we'll send you a new one." Right? Like, all you got to do is, as soon as we see that it's shipped by FedEx, scans it in, we will refund your money. No big deal. Cool. Right? So we jump into, in case you, let me, we'll party, Splinter Skull, BT Dubs. So anyway, we, God, this music is really distracting me right now. Turn it down just a little more for me. God, it's barely up at all. Anyway. God, what am I continuously hitting the wrong buttons today, too. Where was I? Okay, so we sent that one back. But we didn't want to go without a TV for very long, so Tanya just bought another one. You know, we have the money to go ahead and just order another one, and then, you know, when that one arrived, basically swap them out and replace it, right? Well, this one, you know, that process goes through relatively smoothly, right? We get the new one, we get rid of it, etc., get our money back. Oh, we may not be able to just say Splinter Skull. We may have to go get our viewer here. So we get that one. The second one comes, no problem. We hook it up. The video quality is perfect. Like, it's great. I'm like, oh my god, so good. And then the wife mutes it because she's a muter, right? Unmutes, and it doesn't unmute. Oh, great. So I swapped the HDMI cables. Works again. As soon as she mutes it, it's effed up again. Like, oh my goodness. So we can't use any of the HDMI slots and get sound. So I'm like, okay, this isn't going to work. So we order another one. It came today. Right? Meanwhile, we've been running everything through some external speakers. So we get the new one today. Hook it up. So this is number 3. Everything looks okay. Right? Like, the picture looks good. The sound is working. However, still can't run the satellite dish through the HDMI slot. I have to run it through composite, which is a 5 cable thing, right? 2 for sound, left and right, and 3 for color. I get all this hooked up. It's working. Everything's working fine. We go to pack it up and send it back, but we're short a cable. Right? Short a cable now. Did I not answer this guy's question already? Sorry, work stuff. Apparently I can't cancel that there. Alright, sorry. When Facebook throws a bunch of messages in my face that I need to message somebody, I have to do things. Anyway, so this one, so we can't send it back until we get another cable, right? Because it won't work if we don't have both cables. So I'm telling Tanya, like, look, we just won't send back a cable. And she has the legitimate concern of like, well, what happens if they don't refund all of our money then? Like, all right, fine, we'll go buy another cable. Like, that's a legitimate fear. I'm down. So we go get another cable, come back, hook everything up, get it all rehooked up, get everything reset up, rebalanced. But sheesh, it was the drama of the century in old Garobo household here. Like, how come it was working last time? Like, well, it wasn't working last time. We were in HDMI for the video and directly plugging in this to the speakers here to get sound. Like, no, that's not what was happening. Like, yes, that was what was happening. Like, I couldn't convey what was going on to the wife in a way that she understood what I was saying. And I blame me. I blame me for all of that kind of stuff. This means I did not do a good enough job of explaining what the heck was going on. You know what I never did? I don't think I ever made armor or anything for the pet. Alright, nice. More made it.
Well, it's too bad you had to go through the drama.
Well, again, at the end of the day, I just want to make sure she's got what she needs to be happy. As the primary bread earner, she deserves that. Right? Like, she should be able to chill out and watch television without having to stress out over it. But at the same time, it's like, oh, such a pain.
You know, communication is one of the hardest things to do.
Well, it doesn't help when one person is not all there. When you're only 70% there, if you're lucky, you know, like, that's rough too. Alright, I'm going to grab this. Copy. Paste. I also want to say thank you again to Xylo for the subscription. I appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot, actually. All right. I think we're just gonna do this chain, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pull out my helper. And we'll just rock this chain. And if we don't get any viewers tonight, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna chillax. That is going to be my motto tonight. Just chillax.
I wish I had a spirit like that half the time.
Well, I mean, like you said, play DDO. I don't have to think. I just have to sit here and do stuff. Like, I can chill out and play DDO. There are people in freaking South Africa right now trying to figure out if people are going to come, take their land by force and rape them. Like, by comparison, my life is pretty relaxed.
Well, yeah, if that's your metric, then yeah, you're pretty relaxed.
Right, like on a scale of 1 to 10, you know, 10 being South Africa, I'm like maybe a 2, right? Like, yeah, I've got uncontrollable burning pain in my brain, and I have a hard time thinking and concentrating, but, you know, no one's gonna break into my house, kill and rape me for 4 days. So with that in mind, I think I can relax a little bit. Oh. Yep. So I was reading an article the other day as to why millennials say no problem, where older people say thank you.
Oh yeah, older people tend to find no problem offensive too, because they'll say, "Well, it better not be a problem."
Well, I mean, it's literally your job, right? You know, like for a cashier, you probably read a similar thing, and maybe I think it started with a meme, and then I went and I Googled some stuff or whatever real quick.
We actually had training about this at one of my old jobs.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, basically, millennials, according to this particular thing that I read, right? What the theory is that millennials feel like they are expected to do the work, and by acknowledging that it's not a big deal, which is, you know, no problem, not a big deal, happy to help kind of thing, that they're basically saying, again, not a big deal, no problem, no worries, whatever, right? Like, I use all those phrases too. But I also really get irritated when I'm someplace like where I expect to be served and someone tells me no problem. I don't like it there. Like, no, I'm paying for service. I say thank you, you say you're welcome. Like, that's service answer, right? But I guess people feel like they're entitled or they're responsible for work. And I'm like, yeah, you should. You should be responsible for work. It's your job. It's what you did. You agreed to do this job for that amount of money. I don't know. It's just like my niece. She was waitressing for a couple of years, and she would always get so mad that people didn't tip. Or didn't tip as well as she thought they should tip, or whatever. And I'm just like, if I don't tip, it's because they did a shitty job. And I'm not going to tip you if you do a shitty job. Tanya always tips. If people do a shitty job or not, she doesn't care. She's like, I don't want them to think bad of me. Like, who cares what they think? They should think, oh wow, what did I do to get such... to not get a tip? That's what they should be thinking. Not what a greedy wanker or whatever, they didn't tip me. It needs to be, wow, they thought my service was bad enough I shouldn't get tipped. I don't know. I realize I'm abnormal. I play a video game for a living, relying on the generosity of others. And if I don't get tips, you know, cheers or subs or whatever, then I know it's because people didn't think I did a good enough job. I need to do harder. Play more. Do a better serve what their needs. Play on Reaper mode. Play other games. I don't know. What do you think, Ben?
I think the world's weird.
What? That's crazy.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but
yes.
there's a thing where people, you know, the certain generation, they don't want to hear no problem because to them it means that, you know, the fact that you're talking to them is bothering. Yeah, it's like, say you talk to a door clerk, he says, yeah, no problem. Like, oh wow, I didn't realize that me talking to you was a problem.
Right, that you could perceive it that way. Again, I agree. I agree with that same sentiment. Which is why if it's in a service industry, I would like a you're welcome. Right, like if I hold the door open for you and you say thank you and I say no problem, then that's totally fine. Or vice versa, totally fine. Right? But if you say, you know, again, we're at a fast food restaurant and I'm your server, I should not say no problem. I should say thank you or you're welcome. Because you don't have to thank me. It is literally your job. You know, just like I thank you very much for your service, for your time in the armed forces. Why? Because you were not required to do that. And I appreciate the fact that you did it. Would you tell me no problem?
I have a hard time figuring out how to say thank you to people sometimes when they do that. It's like, sure, you're welcome.
That's it. That's all you gotta say. You're like, no problem. Right? That's not what you say. You say you know what? I felt called, or however you say it. And the fact that you don't know how to say it is even more moving to me.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense.
It's like, you know what? I value and appreciate the gifts that you gave so much, and that you don't know how to acknowledge the fact that you gave the way you did is totally moving. No, I mentioned this once before. I wish that I had actually, for selfish reasons, like I wish I could work out more often. Like, mentally motivate myself to work out more often. I wish that I had joined this service. Oh, I guess we should have this guy sing to us before we run off. That's my bad. Alright. 1 point of damage isn't me. Maybe it's the dog. 1 point of con damage. I don't know. See what else is exciting and new and going on this week. My new semi-official DDO stream time starts tomorrow at noon Central Standard Time. That'll be cool. Basically, whenever Jerry's done, I'll take over. That'll be a lot of fun. More of this, except hopefully with like 30 people, 55 people, 75 people. People tend to drop off pretty quick when Jerry's no longer around to answer their questions or give them proof points, but hopefully we'll still get plenty of people hanging out. Man, if people aren't going to be around on Tuesday, we might just make that something else. It's only 11. People tend to start trickling in any time, but... Oh boy. Huh. Definitely think I had feelings the other day besides anger. That was interesting too.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was also angry, but I was also disappointed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Oh, the gym lady pissed me off. Again, it was another service thing. Like, I expect, you know, I spend good money to be a member of this gym, and she kind of just like inferred that that Remy and I needed to prove that we were members of her gym.
Oh yeah, you mentioned this.
And the more I think about it, the more it sticks in my damn craw.
Yeah, I thought that was really weird. I mean, if you'd been a member of the gym for that long, you'd think it'd be a no-brainer. It's like, oh hey, hello, Mr.
Yeah, and again, I think it's just because she's not appropriately trained to actually be in that kind of industry. Service industry is hard, and people who do it right do not get valued like they should. People think of it, oh, you're in service or whatever, and they look down, but I think it's not. I think it's a really tough profession. You gotta juggle a lot of balls. I don't know, you want to talk about any Olympic stuff? I guess there was a nip slip.
Oh, is there?
Apparently. I'm just like, who cares? Athletes nip slip. Everyone nip slips at some point. People have seen my nipples. That's shameful right there. No one should ever see a man's nipples.
Yeah, I don't know why nip slips are such a big deal. I mean, if you want to see naked people, there are plenty of free porn websites. It's ridiculous.
I think it's a different story seeing something someplace you shouldn't. You know? It's kind of like you go outside in public, you don't expect to see a nipple.
Yeah, that makes a point, yeah.
But also, there's the again, depending on how much you believe in evolution, breasts, hips, secondary sex characteristics, right? Those are all signs that men had to determine virility of a mate, right? You know, in the time before you could just marry a woman, decide that you didn't like her a couple years later and get a new one. You know, you had to make sure you had the right one. Oh, apparently I did not land my spell in the spot that I thought I had landed it. It's aggravating. So these characteristics are important. And being a little chaste is also important. Because, you know, you're talking about sharing secondary sex characteristics that, you know, men focused on. So, like, seeing something in public, a little different. Which is why I think the nip slips are so outrageous. But, again, you're talking about an athlete. She's swinging herself around. Come on, people.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
Well, exactly. And I worked at a card shop. I had a literal ball slip not that long ago. Like the front of my pants ripped open and my freaking balls and cock and balls were hanging out. Oh, I don't know why I'm shrining. That's dumb. Trying to think what else. I think we also had a woman, an American woman, do the first. Is it a triple axel when you spin around 3 times?
I think so.
Apparently, she did the first female triple axel. Which people who are into women's figure skating, apparently that's a big deal, right? And somebody who found this to be a big deal tweeted something along the lines of like, immigrants, look at what you can do, or something, right? Oh my god, people are ripping this person a new one. She's like, oh, she's Asian, so she must be an immigrant. She's like, the person who actually tweeted out is like, no, I know her story. Her family are immigrants. Like, she's first generation American. Yeah. Look at the awesome that she can do. And people are just ripping her a new one. Just tearing into her like crazy.
Well, if it's true.
It is true.
She's first generation immigrant. Her parents were Vietnamese and moved here, and you know she's first.
Uh-oh, somebody's more familiar with this story than I am.
She speaks Vietnamese and cooks traditional Vietnamese food, and I've benefited by eating some of said food. And she was like begrudgingly. I was in the vicinity while she had some friends over. I don't know. I think it's more a third year and your second year and you're beneath me kind of relationship going on.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I don't know. Or it's because I have opinions or political viewpoints that are unpopular.
Well, I just did. I don't think they're unpopular. I just think that we're told that they're unpopular. I don't know. I do feel like I'm probably a 10%er kind of person, but I still think a lot of my views are probably shared by still 50, if not 51% of the population in the United States, for example.
I mean, like those video things I sent you, I was watching the one show with one girl, and I was loving to listen to her talk because she was debating with people that are from a totally different background than she is.
Oh, the roaming millennial?
Yeah, she was talking to Blair White,
The trans woman.
Female trans. And they were having a lovely conversation and getting along great.
Well, I think when you're not fighting over pronouns and stuff like that, when you're not dictating somebody's speech, and you honestly want to find common ground, you can find it.
Yeah.
But there's just not as much finding or desire to actually find the common ground, because then you're not winning. Like, if both people come to common ground, that means neither person won. But they don't, the idea that neither people lost doesn't even cross their mind.
Yeah, I just can't understand why there's such... We had to have a special session in our school, and it's called Opposing Views, where they actually had, sitting next to each other, an evangelical Christian and a lesbian with a female life partner, and then on the other side they had a couple of other people, I can't remember who or what they were, don't care, and they had to demonstrate how these people from radically different backgrounds that are supposed
Could get along.
to each other, and they're sitting there saying how much they love each other and how much they enjoy each other's companies. An evangelical Christian goes to lesbians, multi-gender symposium, whatever, and he was just sitting there chilling, kind of going, "Oh, okay, so that's how you people feel." Well, you people's offensive, but so that's how you feel about these things. Okay, I get to learn from your viewpoint. It's cool.
No.
And they had to do that for us. It's like, dear God, people, just talk. Just, hey, I believe this. It's like, well, I believe this. It's like, okay, well, why do you believe that? Well, this is why. It's like, okay, let me rehash that for you. It's like, yeah, it's close-ish. And you talk until you can understand. If I tell you what I believe, I should be able to communicate it in a way where you want to listen, and then you can tell back to me what you think you heard, and it should be correct.
I mean...
Like, you might not agree with it, but you should be able to say, oh, okay, well, this is what I think I heard, and then I should be able to say, yeah, that's more or less correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, I think the term is tribalism. Like, tribalism is strong right now. And tribes war, like, that's what what the heck is that? That's the Whisper Room's daughter I'm actually looking for. Tribes go to war. That's what tribes do. And right now, warring is done in public opinion. So when people are going to war, that's how they do it. That is the preferred method of war right now. And unfortunately, one of the ways that you fight a war like that is deny your opponent resources, not fighting the ideas, because then you could lose. Right? Like you cut off the supply chain. Cut off the supply chain, the army has to surrender. Right? Like you, army guy.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
But if you don't let them speak, don't let them use their words, don't let them get their ammunition, then they have to surrender because they're just not allowed to fight back. Like even if their ideas are better, stronger, weaker, doesn't matter if they don't get a chance to show up to fight. Alright, so people may have noticed that I do this a little weird. This is one of the few quests that I stop. I don't break all the breakables because the breakables are always a pain. But I do get all the traps, and I do make sure that I've cleared to certain areas. Uh-oh, that's not good. I'm going to trust that he can stay alive for a second. Long enough for me to get my hireling raised. Alright. Let's see how close I am if I can. Yeah, we're gonna rescue you. You're rescued. Alright.
Yeah, I felt where you go. It's just really refreshing. Feels people just talking out their ideas.
I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm one of those people who I like debate. I like being challenged. I like, rumbling. Like that's the kind of person I am. It's not for everybody. I get that. I think that with your experience and your background of, a lot of people give DDO players and other role players crap, right? Because we're nerds or we're geeks or whatever. Right? But at the end of the day, like, we are communicators. And we share, ideas that are not always easy to appreciate. Oh, your character died. Oh, you blah blah. You know what I mean? Like, no one likes to hear that. But we had the ability to say those, to talk about it.
I had an exercise today in school with a simulated patient. Oh yeah, that was kind of fun. And a simulated patient that came in, right? Paid actor. And it was husband and wife. And wife was a successful doctor and surgeon and had been retired. They'd been married for 42 years. And the scenario goes that she comes out, she has anxiety and can't go to sleep, and some just other generic stuff. So I was like, okay, yeah, so you can't sleep, so I try to figure out what the problem is. Like, oh, I have this cough, and what it ends up being is, oh yeah, I actually have lung cancer, and I'm dying, and I would like you to prescribe me a sleep med. And she's like, I want you to give me a ridiculous number of tablets at a ridiculous dose so I could take these meds and kill myself.
Okay.
Like, oh.
Here you go. I realize that you probably can't. You probably can't get away with that.
There are some states that you can, but legally I can't do it, and morally I won't do it.
Right, because you that's your you don't believe in a suicide.
But what I did was, I said, oh, well, why do you feel this way? Why do you want to do it? And I found out, it's like, well, my parents, they were in a hospice, their life was way too long, longer than it should have been, and they were suffering. And the husband said pretty much the same thing. And like, we're not going to tell the kids, there's just going to be iron lung cancer. And I didn't wake up one day. And they don't have to know. And it was really interesting to see that point of view. And
Well, I mean, that's something that you'll probably have to deal with more and more and more, actually. So this is something that we can actually get into. I think that would be a fun topic for the two of us, because you and I tend to agree on a lot of our points of view, but this is where I am more to the left than you are. Stretching out the religious part, right? Because as a Christian, you shouldn't want people to commit suicide. And helping them die, depending on how you put it, is murder. Right? Like, I get those things. But at the same time, like, I know what it's like to have such incredible pain that you can't do anything about it. Like, you know what? I understand. If you think that that's the best option for you, and you're really serious about it, you're going to find a way. And I would much rather you do it in a way that I know is going to be, I'm going to say safe here, even though that's the exact opposite or the wrong word. Right? But like, I want a way that's effective and with the least amount of stress.
well, I suppose it's safer than drinking antifreeze or swallowing Tylenol, which, by the way, I don't recommend doing because it's a very painful way to die.
Right. You know, same thing with like men who shoot themselves to make sure that the job is done. You know, which, for people who are curious, that is where the majority of the gun deaths come from in this country. Not?
I think it's a little over half, yeah.
Yeah, it's more. It's the most. I thought it was closer to like 60%. But yeah, it's a lot.
And some people, when they do it, they put the pistol too far forward, and they end up grazing the front of their forehead, and then they go to the ER, and the doctor patches them up and has a conversation. And
I mean, there's a lot of things. My point is just that if people are serious and they've gone through an evaluation and they can, like, I think there should be not necessarily rules, but I think there should be a process, right? Where you don't have to take it into your own hands completely. You know? Like, maybe, I don't know, you would probably know better than I would, but is there a way to, like, euthanate a body but keep, like, the organs viable? I feel like that's a yes somewhere. Whether you, like, replace the oxygen mixture with, like, less oxygen and more carbon dioxide, because I know your lungs prefer carbon dioxide over oxygen, but whether or not that'd keep the organs oxygenated but still kill your brain?
really, if you're going to go down that route, somebody wants to die and donate their organs, what you would do is you would take them, theoretically, into the OR, you would anesthetize them, put them out, and then take what organs you need, and then let them die on the table.
Yeah, but that's definitely not pain. I mean, there's a percentage of people who still feel pain under anesthesia. It's a pretty small statistical sample size, though, right?
It's very rare, but some people either are not fully anesthetized, or they wake up partway through, and the surgery team doesn't realize it.
Right.
But in the long run, for the majority of people, if it were ethical, the best way to do that would be to put them on the table, knock them out, take the organs, and then kill them so that way you don't damage the organs.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's got to be a way that you could do that. Go through the procedure. Go through it in such a way where it's beneficial. If, you know, and sometimes there's not going to be viable organs. I don't want to act like there always will be.
Yeah,
but
you can chill the body. That's what they do in heart surgery. They chill the body to, I want to say something like 50 degrees.
Yeah, you're not dead until you're warm and dead, right? That's the old saying.
Or if your heart's out.
Or even then, right? Like, that's the whole point. Heart surgery. Like, you're literally, you're not dead till you're warm and dead.
Take the guy's heart out, put the heart somewhere else, and don't put a heart back. I mean, he's
Right, but if you warm him up,
he's done so.
right. But like, I do think there should be a way. If people are like, I'm done. You know, this condition is too much for me. Let me see if there's a way to help. I also kind of like the idea of, I'm trying to think of that. I think it's Futurama where they had the suicide booths on every corner. Put in your 50 cents.
That was actually a play on words with Dr. Kevorkian's suicide machine that he had in the back of his van.
I mean, part of me is like, you know what, sure.
But actually, when it comes to like physician prescribed death, as most people prefer to call it physician assisted suicide, or doing your own suicide, or abortion, I think that it should be neither legal nor illegal.
Well, so abortion's a different subject, so let's keep that one away.
Anyway, so what I think about the whole grouping of all of it is it should be neither legal nor illegal. I believe it's all immoral. And
Sure.
if somebody comes up to me and says, hey, I want X service, I should have the right, the legally protected right to say, no thank you, I don't do that. But I can say, let me tell you about the process because I know how it works. I just don't do that. And I can talk to them, like say, yeah, this is how this assisted suicide works. And then I would try to recommend an alternate. And if they say no thank you, then they can freely choose to leave. Where I have a problem is if I'm required to perform the service that I find immoral, or required to refer the service that I find immoral.
Well, we're on the verge of that, right? Like
Yep.
we're not far away.
Yeah, with this political environment, if somebody wants an abortion and I don't want to provide it, I don't have to. But I pretty much have to refer them to somebody who will. And that is guilt by omission. It's not commission where I actively do it, but it's omission where I have someone else do it for me, basically.
Yeah, and I see. Again, keeping the religious part out of it, right? That is something that you have decided is amoral in your opinion. And if you're the one committing the act, then you're the one who makes the decision on whether or not something is moral or not.
somebody on how to do it, or who to go to do it.
Right. Well, and again, that's your decision on what's moral and what's not. Me, for example, again, if I'm not the one doing it, I don't think I care. Like, again, staying away from abortion, because I think that's different. That's somebody who doesn't get to choose, right? I think if you choose that, and you've gone through a mental evaluation to make sure that you're not just, I don't want to say crazy, but you're not in some sort of mental distress that can be treated.
Yeah, mental duress, that's a thing.
Then, if you're at that point, then you should be able to do it. And again, that's me. And I would never force you to do. And I think that's, like I said, we're butting up against the time where you are going to be forced. As a doctor, it is very likely that you may be forced to do something you do not believe is ethical sooner than later. That is scary.
Yeah, and the current climate right now is if I don't want to do a thing or prescribe a drug, I don't have to. And when I have patients come into my practice, I'll let them know up front, it's like, here are things that I don't do, but I have alternates for you. And if you'd like to discuss when it comes to these times, I will. I would like say I have a patient who wants anti-conception medication. It's like I don't prescribe those meds to prevent conception. However, I do prescribe those meds to treat diseases like whatever diseases happen to be treated by those meds, because some of them happen to be hormone replacement therapy, and some treat a whole list of different diseases.
Sure.
But when I prescribe it, I would put like a pregnancy category X on it, and there'd be a big black stamp on the box that would say, "Do not attempt to become pregnant while taking this medication." If the pharmacist decides to put that sticker on there, that's his choice. There's nothing I can do about it, but I'll hit the little clicky that says, "Put the sticker on."
Sure.
Because that's just how my morality works. If I have a patient who's on anti-conception medicine and she gets that from another provider, say she goes to OB-GYN, but she comes to me for her yearly checkup, she's coming for like a well athlete check and wants to go play college sports, or she's like sick, I have the flu, take care of me. Okay, no problem. There's no problem part. It's like, okay, I'll take care of you. Just remember, there are certain things I will do, so I won't fill that prescription for you, but don't hide it from me either, because I need to know it's there because of drug interactions.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting, to me anyway, really interesting thing that I think you're going to have to deal with in the next few years as you start your practice.
Yeah, like trans people, there's a situation that we talked about. There was a female to male trans person who went to our OB-GYN.
And this is your medical school, right?
Right.
Just to make sure things are clear, if people are listening later, this is how Ben interpreted what he was taught.
Right, so one of our professors was talking, it's like, I had male to female patient come in and wanted the uterus taken out. And, there's no medical reason, it's just didn't want to have kids.
Wouldn't that be female to male?
No, it was, female to male.
Okay. Like, if there's a uterus in there, I don't think medical science has gotten that carried away yet.
You'd be wanted the uterus taken out, and there was the Catholic hospital. The Catholic hospital looked at it as like, is there a medical indication for it? Nope, we're not doing it.
Okay.
And the person was upset that they only had the one option to go to the other hospital that wasn't Catholic. And it's like, well, then we had the discussion of you have rights of the patient, rights of the physician, and rights of the institution.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of whose rights trumps who, I think, right now.
You know, if a woman comes to me and she wants me to take her uterus out, I'll look at the situation. It's like, okay, why do you want your uterus taken out?
Because I want it out. I want it out.
I want it out. It's like, I can't do that. I can't take out a healthy organ. You know, it would be the same as a guy walking up to me and saying, my right foot, I feel it doesn't belong to me. I want you to take it off. Make it go away. That's an actual thing. It's called
It is. It is limb dysphoria. And I don't know. I think I'm okay with it. I think I'm fine with people modifying their body the way they choose, as long as I'm not responsible for paying for it. Right? That's the line in the sand for me.
Maybe on the medical side, I want to say, hey, that surgery exists and can be done, but we need to ration our medical supplies to treat the people who need that procedure. Otherwise, we'll have a flood of unnecessary procedures.
Or, right, on the other hand, or people who are, that decided this is important, they pay their total, right? That's how you decide how important something is to you right now in a capitalist environment, right? Like, okay, well, your insurance not going to cover it. It's an elective surgery, right? Are you willing to pony up this money? Which is why certain surgeries are so expensive right now.
And so if patient wants the right foot taken off just because, and doctor...
Again, not just because. They have a reason.
You know, whatever that reason is.
Right.
I'm substituting it just because.
That's fine. I wanted to comment because just because sounds a little...
Flippant, probably.
Yeah. Oh.
Anyway, so, quote, just because, unquote, they want the right foot taken off. You know, the patient wants that. Doctor's like, okay, I can do that. And institution's like, okay, we have the resources available, and we have a surgery room open that's not being used for any reason. Then, I suppose, if everybody feels fine with that, they can do it. Me, I would not.
Right. But you should have the ability to say that, right? You should be the judge of your services because you are in charge of administering them. They're yours. That doesn't mean that you're saying that this should not be allowed. I don't think, right?
If they want to do it and resources are available and they find someone that can do it and I'm not being forced to do it, I mean, that's their choice. I'm not going to force them one way or the other.
Right. For me, it's again, you know, I've said this before in other places. For me, I'm a strong libertarian. Right? I'm a strong libertarian. I believe it's your choice. As long as it affects you, I don't care. It's when it starts to affect other people is when I start to worry. Or I don't want to say offense, but take action. Is when it starts to affect the people who can't defend themselves or are unable or whatever. There's, you know, there are examples. And that's where I have a problem with abortion. And this is me personally. And I would never judge anyone for having an abortion. My parents were basically told that I had two choices, or they had two choices. They could get married or they could have an abortion. There was no other option. And after much debate and visit to the doctor about an abortion, thankfully my parents decided that they would be happier letting me be born than not be born. So they got married for about a year. I was born, and almost immediately after I was born, they divorced. So, in my mind, and I've known this story since I was 6 years old.
That's rather early.
Well, my stepmother used to tell me about it constantly as a way of, as a threat. I wasn't wanted then, I wasn't wanted now. I'm like, well, doesn't that prove the exact opposite? But you know, you're 6, and then you know, like I said, that was the story that she primarily gave me. What the?
Yeah, because that's appropriate to tell a 6-year-old.
Right. Again, she didn't think it was a positive story. But you know, I didn't have a choice in the matter. But it was my life. Right. That's where I have a problem. If there's a strong risk to the mother or the baby already, you know, I feel like you can consider things.
If there's like, say, ectopic pregnancy, and both mother and child will die, it's no fault of the child that he got stuck in the fallopian tube, which is the most common place to get stuck. You know, there's the goal that you want to do is take a child out of fallopian tube and put him in uterus so he can grow, but half of that works, the other half doesn't.
Right.
Impossible.
But again, you want to err on the side of life, right? That I think is the thing that drives it, because they can't choose. They don't have a choice in the matter. So that's where I have a problem. And then again, I'm not necessarily saying it's wrong. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm just saying I don't want to be part of it. I don't want to be part of killing anybody like that. If something were to happen, and I feel like if I was going to end a life, the only reason that I would do it personally would be because I was saving another person's life. It doesn't mean that that's true. Like, there could be an accident. But if I was going to willingly end a life, hopefully that would be the only reason why I would do it.
Yeah, like capital punishment. I'm both pro and con capital punishment. I'm pro because if somebody does something so severe that they need to be put to death, the state should have the option. But I'm con because in our country it costs on average 5 times more to execute somebody than it does to put them in prison for life.
Yeah, see, that's not the part that gets me. I mean, that's a valid argument. Or an argument, and it is valid. I don't know if it's the right one to have. The cost of it. But, for me, the only reason I am even remotely close to pro would be because if you committed a crime that is that heinous, then you, in my mind, have forfeited your right to existence. Right? Like, if I go out and wantingly kill a dozen people, right, then I forfeited my rights. And by committing a crime, that's what you're doing. You're forfeiting rights. You're like, oh, well, the risk that I will get caught is less than, and lose my rights is less than the gains that I'm going to get. In my mind, when you commit a crime, that's what's, every time you speed, the ability for you to not pay a ticket. Keep your own earnings. You know, that's your right to keep your money. You know, it's not a human right, but to keep your possessions. That's yours. Right? Someone should not just take stuff away from you because. Same thing about, you know, stealing from somebody else. And the punishment should fit the crime.
Yeah,
so if you,
like for instance, I would not willingly sterilize somebody because I find that to be immoral. However, let's say if a man commits a rape and the prison sentence is castration, and they need to call a doctor to do that, well, he committed a crime, and there's a sentence where he needs to be castrated. It's like, okay, this is a state action, and I feel that with rape being a serious thing, I would sterilize them, whether it's vasectomy or castration or what have you. That I would do, but just somebody saying I want to be sterilized, I would not do, because of my moral background, I find that to be immoral without a great reason.
Sure. Let me see. Purple is ghost. I gotcha. Had to solve a puzzle in that minute there.
Oh, nice.
Well, look up the answer to a puzzle. But, yeah, I don't know. I get it. I understand a lot of the feelings about it. But again, from somebody who literally was a hardship on my parents, or long term, my parent, my father, you know, I think that if you put the thing in that place without that thing on it, then you've decided that taking that action is worth the risk of not, you know, potentially having a kid. It's not like anyone in this day and age doesn't know where a kid comes from. Right?
You'd think that.
Like, they literally teach it in schools to make sure that people know. Green is I. In public school, they have classes starting at 6th grade.
The funny part about it is...
Funny sad. But go ahead.
On average, 49% of pregnancies are unintended.
Well, yeah, it's super difficult to decide you're ready for a child.
I mean, when male and female reproductive organs come in contact, what do you think's going to happen?
Well, I mean, most of the time that's not true. Right? Most of the time
it's not true.
Most of the time, putting reproductive organs together does not result in a life. It's a pretty small window. The odds are not especially good. But you put the thing in that place without that thing on it, it's a risk you've decided to take.
Yeah, like a girl I grew up with in school. First time she had to go, she was 18 with her, first serious boyfriend, and they are married and have 3 kids because she got pregnant that first time.
Right. I don't know. I think it's a tough thing. Again, as a guy who had an unintentional pregnancy when I was very young, I could not imagine going back and not having my son. Right? Like, theoretically, there's a parallel universe out there where everything has happened, right? Everything else. I don't know how I don't know how the me's out there can feel whole and complete without Remington. Like now. I'm sure that if they never knew their loss, it's probably very easy, you know, to live without him. But me thinking about it now, and again, my son was ran over by a car. I thought I had lost him. There was a window where it could have happened. It was very real. I don't want to say I know what they're going through or anything like that, but it would devastate me. Why aren't you in here? Alright, there we go. Anyhow, I'm gonna give you one of these.
Person's situation is different. There
Right.
are conditions where if a woman does somehow, accidentally become pregnant, she could have some kind of disorder where she could die in pregnancy or in childbirth. In that situation, I would feel fine prescribing anti-conception because she will literally die either during the pregnancy or labor. And if it comes to it, I would feel fine killing her unborn child in her womb because she will literally die either during a pregnancy or labor.
So Lil Beef says, an equal number of Samuses had a daughter that they loved just as much, and the same number never had children to be able to lose. Just like the same one went out. So, not everybody knows this, but about 8 years ago, Tanya and I tried to get pregnant again. And I had some injuries. And I'm pretty sure I cannot father a child anymore. It's not necessarily 100% true. But we tried really hard for about a year. We never went and saw medical help. We never got to that point. Basically, after about a year of trying, I went, look, if it ain't happened now, it's not going to happen. Right? So there's this, Samuses out there that have more than one kid. But I feel a loss for not having the daughter. Like, my daughter that was never born has a name. Her name is Emmeline. Like, I know that she's out there somewhere. It still doesn't mean that I don't feel a loss for her not being here. Surprise stupid Samus out there who's 20 years old, engaged, thinking, all right, we're gonna get married and move to Hayes and start a different life, I could see him being semi-okay, not knowing what he's missed.
Load beef. My cousin ended up spending over $40,000 on fertility treatments to have one child. I can't imagine that. That's something that people do. Fertility clinics. When a couple walks into a fertility clinic, that's not covered by health insurance. It's not covered by health service.
Well, that's that limited resources coming into effect.
Yep. And when you walk in that door, you need to understand that they're going to assume you do not have a cap on what you're willing to spend. Before they do anything, they'll let you know what it costs.
Well, sometimes.
But you need to understand that if you go in there, it's going to cost a lot. And frankly, I'm surprised you spent only $40,000.
Got lucky. Worked.
What I'm aware of, it can actually cost as much as $120,000.
Well, I think that depends, right? Like, that's where you get all these sextuplets and octuplets and stuff right now, where they can't what? Gonna he?
Yeah, they stimulate the woman to have a eggs. They take the eggs out. Each, theoretically, each menstrual cycle, 6 to 12 eggs can form. If the conditions are perfect and meds exist where you can actually harvest that many. Physically in the human body, 2, and very, 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 very rarely 3 can happen. But there has to be some wacky stuff going on in 3
You said that again. That's what's going on with these octuplets, sextuplets, all that jazz. They're hopped up on the fraternity meds. They do all these things, and the next thing you know, bam.
Yeah, with IVF, what they end up doing is they take 8 eggs on average, fertilize them, and then select 2 or 3, and say let's inject these into the uterus so that way we can hope that one will implant, because by statistics doing 3.
Well, I think you end up with these women who really didn't need that much help to start with, and then they end up taking the hormones to get extra eggs to drop and stuff, and that's where they end up in trouble.
Step 1 of infertility is look at the man and make sure his sperm work.
I mean,
Actually, it's cheaper.
it's also more likely to have a problem in this country, anyway.
Actually, no. It's I want to say it's roughly equal, but I want to say it's shifted towards female fertility is a problem. But male fertility is common enough that it should...
with our undergarments and such. Maybe not permanently causing a problem, but temporarily restricting things or making a problem.
Yeah, because if the growing temperature, I'm not sure what words I'm allowed to use on this thing, if the male reproductive parts are too warm, the male gametes will not develop correctly and will not be able to move appropriately.
Right. And like restriction, airflow, all that stuff is a factor. And the preferred underpants of the average American male are usually relatively restricted. Man, look at that 17 spell resistance going off like mad over here. Crazy. I'm not saying wear a bunch of tidy whities and guarantee that you're not going to have any floaters, but it certainly doesn't help when you're trying to make a baby.
Get the compression shorts that are 2 sizes too small. The thing about anti-conception meds, they were actually experimenting with male version where men would take it, but there were so many side effects that they couldn't tolerate them, and the trial was stopped.
Right. And then they list off all the side effects for like female stuff, and it's all like the same.
All over the place. Okay, IIRC, whatever that means, it was something wrong. Her husband, he had some procedure done where they open the harvest good sperm. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That's actually really hard to do. That's much harder.
So here's my question for you, Ben. Tanya and I are done having kids, right? We are done. Now, it is pretty unlikely. Again, we tried a couple of times, and again, 1 year pretty much straight to try to have a second child, and we never did. Okay? So I'm pretty sure I took care of that an unfortunate way due to an accident. However,
you're talking about, yeah.
if I call it correctly, is IIRC. However, to make sure that this is not the case here in the near future, I am actually strongly considering getting a vasectomy just to make sure that is not the case. Now, does your current morality, right? If you were my doc, would you do my procedure? I mean, granted, you probably wouldn't go in that field, so it probably wouldn't be a issue for you.
It's family care. It's an office procedure. Takes about 20 minutes total.
Oh, so you would be somebody who would consider that you would be put in that position.
If there is some grave reason where I need to perform it, I would. But if reason is I'm just done having kids, that is not a grave reason, so I would not perform the procedure.
See, again, I don't mind what your moral reasoning is or whatever, but that's as long as you're consistent. Like I said, for me, something I'm strongly considering, because I'm done. I got my one to 18, got him into college. He's head screwed on right. I don't want to be like my sister-in-law. Her and her husband got remarried. They decided they were going to have a kid. Eleodora, she's 9. She's great. I love her to death. And then they decided to have a third child. I mean, so when she got married, they had their first child together as a couple. Oh, I didn't get there in time. As a couple, and then they decided to have a. I'm gonna poof these guys back. I think. Save the dog. Did the hireling die? No. Pandemonium, man, pandemonium.
Sounds like they got married. They had Aislinn. They split.
Nope. Aislinn was born when Harmony was on prom. I think was conceived during prom. But no, they were engaged. Aislinn's parents were engaged. They never got married. And then years later, she met Kyle, who became their. Do I want to go through? Yeah, I guess so. Whatever. This will still probably be quicker. Found the right person, got married, decided to have the second child, their first child together as a couple. And then at 40, 42, 43, somewhere in that ballpark, they had my nephew. And there's so much medical risk. To the point where my nephew was actually born 3 months early.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's a $1 million baby. So, I mean, to me, anyone over the age of, let's say, 40, where the risk goes skyrocket, if I go to you and I say, Ben, we're over 40, we're done having kids, we're almost 40, we're done having kids, tie me off, son. That's not a valid reason for you?
That's not grave, but if you say, due to these reasons, we believe there are medical risks, like say, my wife is 40, family history of these risks, or I'm aware of these risks in pregnancy of serious complications, I would like you to do something, or like say in your case, I had these weird and crazy headaches, I'm worried that if I have a kid in the next year, 5 years, 10 years, my health problems will prevent me from, my headaches, my migraines, my whatever, will prevent me from being fully attentive to my child. That, because it's more of a grave risk of either medical risks for the pregnancy or medical risks for taking care of the child throughout life before, they're
This is where like
or they're
this is where some of your gray
financially able to take care of
your
themselves.
gray area is starting to like. Then it starts to smell funky.
It's very situational. It's like I don't have like a black and white list. It's each
That's why I'm asking you about it, because again, you're gonna be put in this situation, and nobody's gonna be able to answer this question currently, except for you. That's why I'm asking.
yeah. So if you say I'm just done having kids, then that's
Yeah,
a great
I'm
reason.
I'm I'm over 40, or I'm almost 40. I'm done having kids. As my medical profession, or my medical, the guy I go to, my doctor, I want you to tie him off. I want to remove the risk of high risk pregnancy and all that jazz.
Okay, there we
And
go.
in my brain, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, I need to tell him that I mean, you're going to know if you're my long term doctor, right? You're going to be like, yeah, well, with your migraines and all this other stuff, it's a factor. But if I call you up and I'm like, all right, doc, give me a physical. And while you're down there,
Yeah, there's a difference between, say, 40-year-old Samius coming in with, say, whatever medical problems you may or may not have, and whatever medical risks that Tanya may or may not have. Oh, that's one side. And in that case, it's like, okay, these medical risks warrant.
which is why I'm giving you a scenario, not a specific. Like, I'm not trying to give you a catch you. I'm trying to give you a scenario that I can mentally think of. Like, I don't have another one.
Yeah,
You know
so
what I mean?
in that case, for you, because of the risk of, medical problems, or say your migraines would prevent you from being able to take care of the child and raise the child appropriately, that would actually be strong enough. Now let's take
So,
your brother, who's let's age him to 40.
right. He's not that far behind me.
No, but his medical risks, they aren't the same as yours. And him coming up and saying, hey, I'm relatively healthy. I keep myself relatively fit. My 5-year, my 10-year survival is really high. My cognition level is really high. I don't have any medical risks, except my blood pressure is a little bit high. But then again, so is a third of the country's. Like, I don't feel comfortable performing the vasectomy on you because there's no great reason. Versus you, where you have the headaches and whatever else you may have, it's like, okay, well, these are real medical risks.
Ass cancer.
You have ass cancer, so I agree that this is a situation where there's great risk involved because, let's pretend your migraines would potentially debilitate you in 10 years.
Certain days they debilitate me now.
Some days they debilitate you now. You've talked about, wanting to swallow a lead bullet. That's suicide risk factor.
So, okay, let's pretend I'm 20. Right? You've been my doctor for a while. Hey, let's say 6 months or so. Like, I came to you for a physical, and then I stuck around because I like you, right? So now, it's been a while. I'm like, okay, I'm single or whatever. I don't want to have kids. I never want to have kids. I'm suicidal. I have suicidal thoughts. I don't want to have kids. And I'm sure that one will lead to the other. Right? If I accidentally get a girl pregnant, I know that I will off myself. Snip, snip. Is your conscience good?
That's a complex situation.
Again, I'm just trying to put you in a theoretical situation. God hopes it never happens.
I hear ya. That's a complex situation, so let's isolate things. We got a 20-year-old coming in wanting to have a vasectomy because single and doesn't want to get girl pregnant, right? This is a situation that medical practitioners run into a lot. Most clinicians will not perform the vasectomy because of the young age and because of the lack of children. And actually, a lot of previous.
But again, a vasectomy is completely reversible up to several times. Numerous times. You know, like 5 times they can undo a vasectomy?
Alright, let me finish my thought.
Okay, keep going.
The AMA, American Medical Association, generally frowns upon doing vasectomies on single 20-year-old childless men because it's a relatively permanent procedure. It is reversible. It's expensive to reverse because it takes a microsurgeon, and there is a risk of failure. The general guidelines are, these are hard and fast rules, are you over 25 and do you have 2 or more children? And that's where most clinicians will draw the line. Some might take care of the 20-year-old and, you know, tie the knots. Me, that's not enough to do it. Him saying that he's suicidal, I will kill myself if I get my girl pregnant. That is going to be what we call a candor conversation, because it sounds like something else is going on. And if I can't take care of him in that office visit, we're probably going to schedule a follow-up to talk about why he's suicidal, why he wants a vasectomy, and get down to it to get some more information on the scenario. At the end of it, highly likely not to. Highly more likely, rather, to give counseling and give psychiatric meds and, you know, just give education on what anti-conception methods exist. Ask him what he knows about them. And if he wants more information, then there are government sources that I can show him where to go, where his government can be a tertiary instructor about what to do, because there are other methods. But that sounds more like a candor conversation, a mental health screening, because there might be something else going on.
Well, I found it interesting that you started talking about how there were other medical reasons, right? And you were working in my migraine and stuff, and you found that to be valid, but a mental health concerns, and also childcare, right? The potential that something else could prevent childcare. Those two things, I felt interesting how you were kind of bringing those in as your reasoning to be like, yeah, this is a little bit in the area where I'm gonna say no, like pass. But then another mental concern, or no, sorry, not pass, that you were willing to say okay, like give the rubber stamp, right? But then this person who is suicidal, another mental condition, as far as I'm concerned, depending on why they're suicidal, is a nay. So that's interesting. It's interesting.
Well, one, I know you. 2, I know a little bit more is going on. And 3, this random theoretical 20-year-old person I don't know anything about. We're going to need to have a candor conversation and find out what's going on. Where, you know, you and I technically had the candor conversation. It's been more like, well, why do you want to swallow that bullet? And you're like, well, this is why. It's like, okay, well, I understand why you want to do that now. We've kind of had that a little bit.
somebody wants a procedure I find to be immoral, when there's no grave reason, we need to have a counter conversation. And if there's a grave reason, I'm going to look for those grave reasons. If I find it, it's like, okay, let's help you. But there's no grave reason, and say they just, I have anxiety. If I get a girl pregnant, I'm worried about raising kids. Like, well, we need to talk about this and talk about why you have the anxiety.
I feel like there's probably a reason that somebody, like, there's probably a mental illness where, like, baby equals suicide. It's hard to believe that something like that could make it, again, with the theory of evolution. Because you would think people who were too scared to reproduce would probably be removed from the gene pool pretty quick. Like, that gene wouldn't carry on very long. Or maybe it would, because they went, oh, I had a baby, and then, it didn't make it.
So you go back, so let's go back 10,000 years, and you have early humans, or earlier humans, whatever. I'm afraid to have children because of whatever. They probably didn't survive long enough to reproduce. But if you have, say, early humans where it's like, okay, let's have 1, let's have 2, maybe 3, and then make sure that these are really well off, they did survive, and actually that's kind of how humans are.
Then you find yourself in the bathroom with a weed whacker. You're like, I gotta take care of this.
With our biology, we typically have 1 child at a time, and are typically spaced about 2 to 3 years apart. There's atypical. It's relatively common in this age for whatever reasons. And the biology was set up that way because of the environment. Versus, say, a spider, where it gets pregnant once and then it lays 10,000 eggs.
Right. Load Beef says the scared to reproduce thing seems to manifest in abandonment, as in scared of commitment more often. Like, you see the I just know I'm going to be a terrible father thing a lot. Right? Like, to me, that's the thing that I see the most.
Yeah.
And I often tell people, it's like, you know what? If my kid turns out okay, your kid will be fine. That isn't always...
And more often than not, they just need to have the camera conversation. What's going on? Why do you feel this way? You feel you'll be a terrible father. Why do you feel like that? And then they just need reassurance.
I think usually they need to not have kids. But I'm also one of those, I'm going to say sick liberals. Ha! One of those sick liberals who think that the world's overpopulated and we can do with 1 or 2 less. Once, before they ever conceive. Boat invites.
Yeah, we're having a really interesting conversation, but it's after midnight, and I need to be up nice and early tomorrow.
That's fine. I just, sometimes I get an opportunity to pick your brain, and it's entertaining to me, whether or not there are viewers. This was one of those times. Hopefully the viewers enjoyed it as well. Load Beef's the only one who's really using the chat box, but there are some people hanging out, so...
Yeah, there's like 7 people.
If you want to join in, you feel free to use the chat box. I am trying to watch it. Doesn't mean that I'm succeeding, but I am trying.
These are hard things, are real issues. There's real people out there, and everybody's different. We all have our unique situations. I'm sure there are 7 billion of us, but some of our situations will be similar, but there's still a lot of uniqueness. If you're having a hard time, reach out. You feel a little bit down. You can reach out to your medical professionals. You can reach out to counselors. You can reach out to close friends.
Again, this is where I get in trouble. I'm the only pro suicide person that will talk you out of it. It's so awkward. To me. Because, I don't want you to go off yourself, right? But at the same time, like, if you did, it's probably fine.
Just remember, suicide is a
permanent solution.
And last couple of sergeant majors, the Army, sergeant's major, whatever, the Army, they kept the same tagline. They go, soldier, don't kill yourself because suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Some people's a permanent problem. Some people's a temporary problem. Just, reach out and talk to people.
Once you commit suicide, problem's over. It was temporary.
Well, yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. I find some of these things interesting. Also, where people are in their lives and where they believe certain things land.
I tend to, I'm not gonna say I disapprove of because that's being judgmental, but I will say that I discourage suicide. And say if I have somebody who's end of life care, like that doctor who was my theoretical patient earlier today, I recommended palliative care.
Right. So to answer your question, Todd, the reason we're talking about suicide right now is I ended up using it as an example because Ben is currently in medical school, those of you who don't know, and he was running scenarios today about what to treat, how to treat, and why you would treat something. And in the course of A leads to B, leads to C, leads to D, I used suicide as a condition to seek treatment. See whether or not Ben was interested or willing to give me treatment for suicide as a condition. Answer is he didn't. He wanted to find a different thing. Who's in med school? Ben.
Yeah, the annoying guy with the annoying voice talking right now. That's me. No, things are really hard.
Did I not go to the right freaking place?
If someone just has a hard time going on and they're thinking about suicide, just talk to people, talk to your medical professionals. You'd be surprised where you get support.
Let's see, Todd is in this chat. Ben.
Like Ben Kenobi, except not as awesome.
Also, I'm not 100% sure that that Todd's first language is English. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's fine. But some people, like the theoretical patient, she was a long-time doctor. She was, I want to say 67, had lung cancer, and just wanted to take whatever med it was, I'm not going to say, overdose on it, die of her choosing. It's like, well, let's find out what's going on here. And ended up talking about palliative care.
Right, which is where that also is part of the reason why it worked its way in.
Yeah. Palliative care, for those who don't know, is pain medication where you can reduce your pain, live a relatively normal life, do normal activities, and because you can spend time with your family, you can spend time doing what you love, you can live with dignity, and because of the nature of the med, is an opioid, and taking it for a long time at the high dose will actually end up shortening your lifespan.
Yeah, he may be a little echoey for some reasons real quick. Usually the TeamSpeak works really well, but I am having some audio issues today. Is it just... let me see if he just talks, if it picks up on the speakers. Go ahead and just talk at me, Ben, for a minute.
Here's me just talking.
Yeah, that shouldn't be picking up over the mic.
I would go deaf right now. My volume is like insanely high in here.
Well, if we talk at the same time, you should go over the mic, but other than that, you should not.
Okay, that makes sense.
Interesting. I'm going to go ahead and prepare this. I don't think I'll cast it very much, but I might. Who knows?
Yeah, turn your volume down because you want to hear. I have permanent ringing in my right ear for various reasons. I have 3 theories on why. Just take care of your hearing because once it gets damaged, it's permanent.
I think it's because you... most likely because that dwarf put the thing in your ear without that thing on it.
Okay, so I have 4 theories.
I do have tomes. I don't think anything's paused.
Okay, looks like people are talking in the chat. Anyway, it's late and I need to go to class really right now.
Yep, that's fine. Take off. Have a good night. Thanks for keeping people company.
Yeah. Take care, everybody.
Oh, alright, let's check this guy real quick. Yeah, it's not paused. Those last 2 quests in particular are really low XP. But everything seems to be fine. As near as I can tell. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, like I said, I am pro suicide if you are more than just wanting to escape. I need to go talk to the guy. Like, and it's hard to judge. It's really hard to judge. But like, my grandfather, who has had brain cancer or brain tumors 4 times, and they go in and they surgery remove it, and is in incredible pain from day up until day down, and is currently enjoying basically not really early onset Alzheimer's, but basically is that because of nerve damage from all the surgeries. And when he's just in incredible pain all the time and all he remembers is pain, that's something I can relate with, right? So I understand it. Like, it makes sense to me. And I would never say escape. And family and friends are the reason why even when I've been at the lows, and I've been pretty lows, I have been in enough pain where I've seriously contemplated it. The reason why I don't is always family, friends. This stream, actually, we have a couple of people who actually have reached out to me and sent me emails telling me that they were considering it. And I've emailed basically talking them out of it. Like, none of these reasons are qualify in my mind for suicide, right? Like, yeah, it sucks you're broke. I get you. Yeah, it sucks that you're homeless. I get you. Anyone tell me voices in your head are telling you to do it? Well, then we need to find some doctors or stuff. But family was the #1 reason you considered. That sucks. I've been there. My stepmother tortured me for years. Right? Tortured me for years. And by being there for other people has showed me reasons why I should definitely not. Pretty awesome. What the... Oh, I went down... You know, this is the right tunnel. Ow, that was a big kick in the groin. Oh, you know what? I selected... We can select Reaper now. I did not bring my hireling. Alright, I'm going to try this. I don't think this is the right call. But I need to be able to kill this freaking guy quicker. Oh, so crappy. You know, I've mentioned this before. I have friends who are trans, and they've contemplated it, and I'm really glad that they didn't. I'm always glad to hear that someone has thought about it and chose not to. 'Cause I think it's terrible. But if I found out that somebody did, and I found out that they had an opinion or a reason that was valid, and again, I'm completely subjective in the validation or not. That's me. Being non-binary is one of the hardest things nowadays. That's not true. It's always been hard. Always been hard. Now is the best time because there's at least some willingness and some understanding. I would agree with you that it's still hard. It's still an incredibly difficult thing. I can't imagine what it's like to, I mean, I guess I kind of can, but I can't imagine what it's like to be like, well, this is not who I am. Right? I identify with a cartoon character. People literally call me my cartoon character name because it's easier for me to identify with. You know, I kind of get it, but not even close to understanding what it's like to that degree. Which is part of the reason I find it really interesting. And I've got friends who are struggle. Exactly. You know, me, my problem is part of my body doesn't work. Right? There are days I cannot speak correctly. There are days where I cannot think correctly. There are days where my mind is not mine. Yeah, it does. It's tough. It's very tough. But at the same time, when people start trying to demand that people change, that's not the way to win hearts and minds. In my opinion. That's where I start talking about how I'm more libertarian, because you have to change people one at a time. Let society change. Same thing like people sometimes get on me. They're like, are you not happy that the Supreme Court enforced gay marriage on all the states? I'm like, no, not really. I just started one. Hello, welcome to the stream. The reason why I'm not happy with that is because they basically exceeded their bulwark, right? They should not have done that. But I am glad that people who love each other are protected under the law. I just think that momentum was already going that way. Instead of having the Supreme Court make it legal for two people, just get rid of the law. Get rid of the stupid law that says that marriage is this. Like, you don't need to have a legal definition of marriage. You just need to be able to say, these people should be allowed to have rights of making decisions for somebody. Like, you need to have a way to signify that. But forcing that to be a marriage or forcing that to be something else, I'm not on board with that. Just, again, where I get in trouble, because then people hear, oh, you're not for gay marriage. Like, no, I am. I'm for everybody getting married. Stop putting limits on it. It's not our job to put limits on this stuff as a government. As a society, sure, but not as a government. It sucks hearing Ellen say she is not a second-class citizen. I don't think I understand. I know who you're talking about, but I understand. Like, you think she feels like a second-class citizen? Hey, thank you very much for the follow, by the way. I appreciate it. I just started. I know this is probably a rough conversation to jump in on the first thing here. She does feel like she's a second-class citizen. I can't control her feelings. How she feels is up to her. All I can say is she has all the same rights I do. She has had the same rights I've had. Her state that she was in recognized her marriage for years. Right? Like, I don't understand where she can say this in good conscience, like, it feels the same. Right? Like, if she could point to an example of where she's being discriminated against, I would understand better. But somebody would have to show me an example, and then I would stand with them and fight along to make sure that they got that discrimination is ended. Well, it's just like the other day I said that if I was gun to my head forced to vote for Hillary or Trump, I would vote for Trump. Even today. Right? Because even the 10% that I have gotten that I wanted from Trump is, in my mind, still 100% better than the nothing I would have got from Hillary. Right? And when the people hear that, they're like, oh, you're pro-Trump. You're pro-Trump Nazi. Like, I'm none of those things. Samus, I know you're not a caster when you don't pick up blue balls. Man, are you talking about I picked up a ball? I'm all about them blue balls, baby. Okay, so here's an interesting comment. Low Beef and I are going to get a fight. There is no separation, no legal separation between church and state. There's no reason, there is no dictation. That is a fallacy. There is no separation of church and state in the U.S. Constitution or Bill of Rights or anything. The only thing that says in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution is you shall not be forced to have a religion. Right? And we will not force you to not practice the religion that you want. That is all. That is not the same thing as government cannot be involved with religion and make religious decisions. Totally different. So, here's the thing. If the majority of people share a set of values that is given to them by a religion, then the majority votes, majority rules, and they make that go together, right? That is the common policy, right? The common agreed upon good, as it were. So then those laws get put into place, which is why we get stupid laws like marriages between a man and a woman, or you can't change your name to a female sounding name if your birth certificate says you have a ding dong, which again is a stupid law. Well, again, okay, so politics will forever be tainted by religious interest is because people who are religious, right, have thoughts and feelings and opinions conformed by that religion. It's like saying just because you're not religious doesn't mean that you're not tainted by those thoughts and feelings too. Why are you so funny? I almost choked on my fisherman. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but it sounds like a cock and balls joke to me. That is not the button I wanted to hit. I try to be funny. I do try. I don't always succeed, I don't think, but I do try. Oh, would you die already? Thank you. I'm curious what I did that's so funny that you almost chalked on your fish. Oh, a throat lozenge. Okay. All I know is I heard Fisherman's Friend, and I was thinking... ding dong. But you see what I mean, though. Like, those things are together. Like, they're intertwined. It's just like, the Muslim face. Did I not click all the books? Have you met me? Have you been part of this stream? All I am is gutter. What? I must not have picked up this one? No. No, they're always in the same 3 spots. I didn't pick one up. Oh, wrong chat. Ugh. Oh, the first one. The first one. The bears. Alright, let's leave. Out. You thought it was a pocket fisherman foldable fishing pole. You're like practicing your deep throating with your portable fisherman. That's fair. Chat distracted ye. Yeah, I missed the first one. That was my bad. That was my bad. I don't know. I'm just and I know everyone will hear this before, and will probably hear it again, but I think that government needs to get the shit out of my way. Than everyone else's way. It doesn't mean you don't need some, right? You need some. But when people start infringing things that are moral prerogatives, and this is where people, I think, get in trouble with the religion shouldn't stomp on me, right? It's like, okay, well, marriage is between a man and a woman. That's our prerogative. Enough of us say that's what we want. Boom. No, tyranny is not too much order. Tyranny is a very small amount of people forcing their will upon everybody. Which is what I would say is actually happening more and more here in the U.S. by certain groups. Oh, did I just go on Elite? What difficulty did I go in? I just go on Elite. My bad. Out of the pool. That's my bad. I got a little bit more specific. Oh, well, sorry. That's what I do. Words mean things, right? It's part of the reason why people are fighting over what words they are allowed and what they're not allowed to say. Chat, what is your real life alignment? I'm certainly not true neutral. I feel like I'd have to take the test. Like, depending on my mood, I'm either lawful neutral or lawful evil, to be honest, I would say. Probably more often than not, lawful my own self-interest. Like, first and foremost, me, my family. Then, my friends, you know, which would be, like, you guys, right? People in the chat. Yeah, like I said, I think more often lawful neutral is probably the thing. For me, anyway. But I have absolutely zero qualms about crossing lines to protect mine and my own. So, like, I'm that guy who I don't speed. I try not to lie. I try to follow most of the rules, even if I disagree with them. You know, I try. I don't always. Doesn't mean I can't break the rules. And with sometimes, you know, there are situations where I would break the rules without hesitation. Yeah. It's just easier not to break the rules. You don't break the rules, you don't get in trouble. So I guess you could say chaotic neutral, trained, however, not to break rules, because I don't want to get in trouble. Is that an alignment? That's pretty long. Yeah, I mean, I think that you should focus on removing unnecessary rules instead of enforcing every single rule that may or may not matter. Brainwash chaotic neutral. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that at all. See, people ask me that all, like, what colors do you enjoy, stuff like that. Like, I play all the colors. I play everything. Like right now, I think Mardu Control is probably like my favorite thing in general. Well, see, that's not even true, because my favorite deck is literally 4-color Wild Pair. Using white creatures to go get blue-green creatures that are counterspells. So, yeah. Yeah, Magic the Gathering. Oh, I was just a hair too slow on that one. Rainbow Samus, something like that. Like, I don't feel like I should limit myself by ideology. How's that for a statement? I'm whatever it is that, like, what Antifa wishes they were. That's me. Creep through this door. creep to the store. Is that your dog? Is that my dog? That's your dog. You're getting your full heal, right? There he is. That's a chaotic statement. I just want to remove as many laws as I need to make it where everyone can follow the law. Hey, honey. How's it going, girl? I saw that you were hotzing earlier. Oh, we're gonna enjoy it. I mean, look at me. I'm tossing around all these bones on my big wooden stick. I'm gonna have a good time. I'm actually broke as balls, though. I'm so poor right now. Did you guys not hear how we literally had to buy the projector 3 different times now? We're on our 3rd projector to get this projector to work right. I think we finally got everything sorted now, though. However, Samius bought excellent timing with the shameless asking for a donation. Anyway, I'm sure Honey's already gone, but thank you very much, Honey, for the... Was it a host, I assume? Twitch log, show me what's up. Twitch log is all janky. Samus Todd, my sexual ears has a quota of blue tier jokes almost filled for the day. Quota. Well, I mean, I do what I can, man. Or lady. Man, lady. Lady boys? Lady boys. What? Oh, Honey's still here. If you guys don't get the chance, Honey is on my auto host list. I think like 4th from the top. She primarily plays HOTS and other MOBAs. She's pretty fun. Look, I throw the hype out there. I'm all about team building. She's like, you won't come to my stream no more. I lurk. I say hello when I get a chance. Diablo, Hot, Stardew. I cannot get into Stardew myself, but yeah. Mostly I watch your Hot stream. And I watched you play, whatever that other MOBA is the other day. The other one I tried playing like once and couldn't do. But even watching you can't make me watch Stardew Valley, and don't you try. Need to get like a quick button where it's like just my face so I can point at people like, don't you try to make me watch Stardew Valley. Hell no, we won't watch. I just say that because a friend of mine thinks that I would like. He's like, come on, you'll love it. It'll be great. It's exactly the game for you. And I watch him play it, and I'm like, yeah, no, I think I want to cut myself. Down the road, not across the tracks. No Stardew Valley for me. And now we're back to suicide, see? It's the circle of life. Stardew Valley is a walking around simulator, in my opinion, which is cool. It's not bad. I don't know. For me, it's not what I'm looking for in a game. I think people who love it, and people like me who don't love it just won't. That is not the button I wanted to do. I don't think the cold is going to matter that much to these skeletons. It's called preference. You are 100% correct. 100% correct. It is a preference. Like, I will play Factorio for days. But make me play Stardew Valley, I'm like, no, sorry. Can't do it. It's like we got a, I think Julian actually donated the deep, no, it's not the deep dark, the long dark. And it was a survival walking around simulator where it was more accurately portrayed the actual situation if you were to find yourself in an emergency situation in like Alaska, far away from you know, the population of the country. And it was fun like once or twice. I don't know if I'd play it often. So, honey, if you're still in the chat, how was your record for the day? Because the shuffler, Whitty and I played a little bit, and then I played a couple of games on my own, just in a quick match, and it felt like the shuffler was just trying to put it in me. What are my favorite games of all time? I will eventually stream FTL, I promise. It's on the list. I just haven't gotten there yet. I will. I have it bought. I have it downloaded. I just haven't done it. I mean, I would put DDO probably... I mean, obviously number one is the classic pen and paper Dungeons and Dragons. It was okay. The shuffler was good for you. Man, I got screwed so hard. So classic pen and paper Dungeons and Dragons, obviously number one, hands down, no questions asked. Number two would probably be Shining Force 2, followed by Shining Force 1. No, that's not right. Probably 1 and then 2. Yeah, it's probably true. Like, I like Shining Force. I like them both, the Shining Force games 1 and 2, on the original Sega. And then it would probably be Magic as a strong 4, I guess. And then I have to kind of think what comes after Magic. Oh, DDO would probably be before Magic, actually. I would probably put DDO like third. If you count the two... if you count the two Shining Forces as one game, I would probably say 2. Mario Sunshine would be on the list, the top 10 for sure. Mario Sunshine in particular. I don't know, the first 3 Marios were fine. But I do love Mario Sunshine. I'm actually really tempted now that I say that out loud to have Remington hook up the GameCube in here. I like Settlers of Catan. The board game is fine. Whoa. Emergency over here. I don't know if I'd put it on my... like my best game ever. There is a... It is fun. It's a good game. There is a board game. Loose definition of board. I can't ever think what it's called. I always have to look it up. I want to say Hero Quest, but I don't think that's right. Let's see if I actually have a... No, that's not it. It was a miniature game, right? And you got this huge mat that you laid out on the floor, almost like a rug. And two people played it. There was two armies. It was like a troll army and a hero army. And you had 2 deck of cards, I think. I think it was card-based. I feel like it was card-based. And depending on your cards... I know at least there was a cannon. And it was card-based. Maybe the rest of it wasn't. But I still feel like it was card-based. And then I would probably say Soul Calibur on the original arcade would probably be on that list. Star Fox 64 would be on that list for sure. Right, 64? Is that the game? I feel like that's a yes. Yeah, on the 64. On the 64. And then I'd have to say... Somewhere it would have to be the GameCube version of... The GameCube Mario racing game. And then I would have to put in like Evolution of EVO, I think is what it's called. I have to go on my short list of things. So yeah, I've got some games. Couple of things. Factorio would have to make the list for sure. I really want to play... I really want to fall in love with... Oxygen Not Included. It looks like it's a game right up my alley. Like, it looks like it's everything I want in a game. But it doesn't quite deliver. We're doing an awful lot of killing one at a time to make sure we don't get swarmed. Which is probably fair, but at the same time, it's boring. I just can't more quickly kill these skeletons on Reaper 1. Ooh, a mace. Ooh, but it's Mythic. Mythic 2 doesn't have a slot. What the shit? Who's ever gonna use this? Come on, DDO. I guess I could use it now. You're gonna get it now, Load Beef. It's coming to you in the mail. Hope you're ready. It needs a slot. You can't good align it. You can't anything. The fact that it had Mythic 2 is a complete waste. Complete and total waste. One more. Oh, my kid's a console gamer. And I will probably be a console gamer again. At some point in the future. Man, I'm so hungry. How's the music coming for you guys? Is it good? Like it's been working, I think, at a pretty reasonable pace for me. So I just want to confirm with you guys it sounds fine still. I can't even think of how many hours I played Tetris. Jeez. Sometimes I still do the Tetris C song. I can't do it now because that's not what's playing, but... It's right up there with There's a Game. I cannot tell you what the name of this game was. But there used to be a classic game before... God, it's so old. Before Game Boy really was a thing. Like, there was Game Boy. Let's not... But there was poor people Game Boy. Right? So then you got these games that could only do a couple of things. Like... usually one thing. Right? Usually there was one thing it could do. So, like... There was this car game where you were a car and you had to like navigate yourself around other cars. Oh my god. I played that game. But I didn't have a Game Boy. And I was only allowed to play the original Nintendo very, very sparingly. Like, it was one of the reasons I used to go... Oh, my God. How could I forget? The original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game for the original NES. Oh, so good. I played that game for what feels like years. God, what is that board game now? Classic board games. Large battle set. Classic board game, Orcs vs. Soldiers. This thing was huge too. Just, I mean, huge. The mat was probably 4x4 at least. Yeah, I don't see it. Darn it. How much later are we gonna play? Probably. God, I want to finish the Catacombs while I have help. At the same time, I'm super hungry right now. Civilization has to go on the list. Civilization 2 in particular. That literally is a game I played for years. The original StarCraft has to go on that list. I played it for probably years too. For flight simulators, oh god. It was called like Euro something. I'm gonna say Eurofighter. Age of Empires is really good. Need for Speed. Yeah, I never really played those racing games. Also love Soldier of Fortune, my favorite first-person shooter in middle school. Diablo 2. I mean, I like Diablo 2. I played it. Was not my favorite. I mean, we did play it for hours, right? Like, it was... We would play Diablo 2, Eurofighter, and StarCraft. Those were our 3 games. Right? My first computer was built just to be able to play StarCraft 100%. God, I used to play on this bulletin board. A friend of mine, it was like a star game. God, I could not tell you what it was. Could not tell you what it was. But it was so... It was like an early ancestor of Eve. So good. It was all text-based. Right, because it's dial-up, it couldn't do anything. And only one person could be in there at a time. So, like, you all were on the same world, you interacted with each other. But only one person could be live at a time. And do anything at a time. So, like, if you wanted to arrange a trade... They would get a letter like, so-and-so would like to trade with you. It was so good. Yeah, I never liked Doom. I like Doom. I mean, it was okay. I played it, but not like I never got into it. I didn't love Duke Nukem. There was too much go get the key. Again, I played it. Not saying I didn't. It just would not make my top 100 games of all time list for sure. Trying to think of something. I used to play Monster League football with my brothers. That was fun. But yeah, the thing I remember the most was walking around town, gathering aluminum cans off of the floor, right? On the ground. Just walk around. There's also like guys who would gather up aluminum cans, but they'd never like take them in, so we'd pillage. I'm not gonna lie. Young Samius pillaged some aluminum cans from people. And we'd go cash them in at the Dillons for like 18 cents a pound. And for $1.15, I think, $1.50, maybe $1.50. $1.50, we would be able to rent a Sega game for 2 days, right? If it was a 3-day weekend, we could do 3 days for the same price. And we would rent StarCraft. Or not StarCraft. Shining Force. But the save was broken. Oh. So heart crushing, right? So you had to play all the way through all at once. It took us so long. Oh, it was devastating. Oh geez, I gave myself to lay on hands and didn't get there. So Load Beef is telling a story, and and people are like, "Are you for real?" Of course he's for real. He's Load Beef. Did I seriously not summon my hireling? The only good things that come out of Kansas City: Load Beef and whatever that guy's name is. That's not true. One of my best friends actually met his wife in Kansas City. She's pretty sweet. I think there's a lot of good things out of Kansas City. You could be top on the list though. That's for sure. Although when I come for a visit, we're going to Lawrence to eat. God, I want that chicken. There's a chicken place in Lawrence. Chef's Crazy Chicken. Make me want to die. So good. Alright, you dorks are behind me, right? Yeah, they are. They're behind there. We're almost done. I'm going to finish out this chain, and then we're probably going to wrap up for the night. I think that's probably appropriate. Need to actually get that factorial list updated too. I was also going to work on getting this week or last week's Two Troll and a Brew published, but not going to do that either now. I'll work on it here soon. I have to get it done tomorrow. Before tomorrow. Probably not before. Well, maybe before tomorrow's stream. But I gotta get it done by tomorrow night for sure. So, as a music person, right, in my mind, as a music person, I find it much harder to play a game like Guitar Hero because there's no variation. You're playing the exact literal, like, what would be the equivalent of a written definition of the song, instead of what you feel or what you want it to be. I feel like I should just give you one of my other one of these. Ooh, Deadly Fever Blanche. Yeah, I haven't fallen in love with StarCraft 2 like I did StarCraft 1. I think it's probably because StarCraft 1 I primarily played with like Tobrel and another friend. And we mostly just played, like, the three of us would often get together and then, like, we would kill the AI, like, in a free-for-all, and then we would do stuff. We've done my race. Oh, it's all the races. I play everything. I didn't care. Like, eventually my favorite race was Protoss, so I could just steal everything else. But, like, Tobrel and... I saw your message earlier. Congratulations. Mine currently is stolen, so I've got to get a new one. I did play random. But I would play... I played everything. I played all the races in StarCraft. They all had different strengths and weaknesses. My favorite was probably... Did I seriously not get this? My favorite was probably Protoss, in the sense that I could eventually steal everybody. How what, Titan? Did I seriously not get this freaking done? No, I got it. Yeah, once you could steal everybody else's stuff, it was pretty great. A lot of my friends, Tobrel and Victor, actually, they loved Protoss for the carriers. I never, like, it's fine. I never needed it, though. Like, the carry was never so great. Yep. Welcome to the wonderful put in your bottom of banking with the debit card. Debit cards basically suck. Yeah. But if you're racing up that tree, then the Zerg player just kills you. Alright, you're putting everything into the thing. You just die. Remington likes Skyrim. I don't know if he's finished it. I feel like he has, but not like a lot. I never played it. The first Neverwinter Nights was really good. I could see it being on people's short list. I didn't care for number 2 compared to number 1. I don't know who you tried to summon. Again, Neverwinter Nights, the first one, is where we actually picked my would-be daughter's name of Imowen. Came from there because my wife loved it so much. That was what she wanted to name our daughter. No, maybe I am thinking Baldur's Gate, actually, now that you say that out loud. Baldur's Gate was Imowen, wasn't it? It was Baldur's Gate. Or was it Neverwinter Nights Baldur's Gate? I don't know. Like, you always started in the city. And, like, your stepdad was, like, the super wizard. Is that Baldur's Gate 2? I don't know. I don't know what any of the games' name were now. But Tobrell and I would spend hours summoning the Flaming Fist, right? The Flaming Fist? Burning Fist? I think it was the Flaming Fist. Killing them. Killing one. And taking its armor. Because it gave you a breastplate, like a magical breastplate or something. And then you could reload it. Like, once you beat the game, you could take your character from the beginning of the game and play it again. So, like, you got, like, these fireball exploding arrows. And, like, the more of the flaming fish you killed, the more they would come. You just be like, kaboom! Kaboom! It was pretty great. I don't know. I had a friend who had a Nintendo, We played a lot of like Contra. There was like a flying game that you like flew around and you did stuff like Contra. I don't know what it was called now. Was that the Metal Slug game? No, that's not it. It's not what I'm thinking of anyway. You this. You this. He's bad enough. I'll do this. I was busy Googling the 2 Famine Reapers. Well, I don't know what the other one is. Plague Reaper. Whatever. Get over here. You're super dead. Whatever. What are you gonna do? Nothing. That's what. Does Wii Bowling count? Probably. I used to sit and play the Wii, or the Sims with my wife. Mario Golf was real good. We play that as a family sometimes still. Sweet, more immune to... Just keep casting cold spells on things that don't give a shit about the cold, Sam. You're a real good player. You know what? Everything seems to be immune to the cold. Let's do this. We're a Nintendo family for sure. There is a game where you're a gargoyle. I can't think of what it's called, but that's a lot of fun. I think it was on the Sega. Alright. Final fight, boys and girls, cats and dogs, children of all ages. We're going to eat and crash out and be ready for tomorrow's stream. Let's see, I'm going to give myself one of these. Alright. Okay. Poof around back here. Yeah, I'm not the world's biggest bowler. I think it's okay. Alright, I think with that, we're going to dismiss the dog. Nice. Looks like we have a little bit of wiggle room for tomorrow. Tomorrow I will try to do... Probably like focus on proof is in the poison. Sanctuary is steel, so we can't use it. Eternal Rest, I'll probably grab these. Just for the dog. Oh, look at that sexy. Look at that. God. Like, you have to take that, right? This one's bound to account, so it won't even take permanent damage. I think you have to take that. Alright, alright. Well, I've got plenty. I'm plenty of things. Right? Like, I have plenty of invisibilities, and I have so many things to be able to, like, just use a scroll. I go get that. I'm 85% likely to use it with 4 points. 4. I mean, you guys saw me destroy the one that was... that was invisibility and featherfall, like level 9 maybe. Do I make a post on the Renegade Master Maker thread to request a curative admixture to allow quick and meta magic? Or they'll be useless and epic? Yeah, you could. Who cares? If you have an opinion, throw it in there. If they didn't want it, they wouldn't have asked for it. Alright, are there any other 3s before we go? Not that I'm going to do any tonight, but I'm tempted to... Yeah, I'm not going to worry about these. I don't hate the idea of going and getting this solo and whatever, but I'm not going to screw around with it. Alright, Are we ready for our first artist, or second artist for level? I feel like the answer is yes. The dog is level 4. Yeah, I'm going to take the other arty level now. We're going to at least look at it now. Alright, so let's look at this level. This is our catch-up level. Ow! So we go to 9, 9, 9, 9. And we run out of points trying to get our UMD caught back up. But Spellcraft is not a cross-class skill, so we can go 9, 9. We can catch up our UMD. And that's not the worst. I think we're going to want Arcane Initiate at some point, but I think first you always take Completionist. Completionist should be up here, right? No, there it is. We always take Completionist. And then this doesn't really matter because this spell just doesn't matter. So we would get +1 Bab, +1 will save. That's, I mean, this seems okay, right? Yeah, unfortunately, Titan, the uptime is somewhere around 3 hours. So we're at the end of our shift for tonight, mostly because I'm hungry, and we have to be back in 10 hours for Jerry, at least. So by the time I eat, fall asleep, if I'm lucky, I'll get 6 hours of sleep. Oh no, this looks okay. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pull the trigger. He's back here swinging their axe. Billionaire Jones! Somebody's having a good time, it looks like. Bam! Grab you, Billionaire Jones. Yeah, I don't have any dollars. I'm dollarless. Woo, yeah. Oh, giggity, giggity. Do we have enough points that we're willing to go up this tree yet? I don't hate this caustic strike. Alright, let's... make sure that's... So what's that going to give us? It's going to give us a ranged crossbow attack. Does 3d6 and 66 rust damage. I don't hate that. I'm going to take it. Woo, baby! You're level 2! Woo, yeah! Alright, I'm not going to worry about gear. We'll worry about that tomorrow. But because we are level... I imagine Ocean 11 does. I'm excited to watch the new one. I love me some Sandra Bullock. I'm going to watch the hell out of that. Boner alert. Love Sandra Bullock. Alright, guys. Any last questions, comments, etc. before we disappear for the night? Give you guys a good 30 seconds here. No, looks like that's about it. Don't tell Load Beef his name is Loaf Beef. He'll be in trouble. Have I seen Thunder Shock? That name does not sound familiar. That's a Pokemon movie? Hello, Ritz. Oh, it's a basketball movie. Yeah, a basketball movie would never be on my radar. Oh, thought you were looking for a movie. This one, Thundershock weapon. It's pretty good. Again, the problem is I don't plan on taking... I might take a 3rd level of Artificer, but I can never imagine taking more than that right now. Like, we're going to go heavily into the Season's Herald tree pretty soon. So we'll run up that. Unfortunately, Ritz, this is just we're about to log off to go to bed. 2 o'clock in the morning is about the time that I've been ending on these late night streams. So unfortunately, that's about where we gotta go. And we'll be here tomorrow afternoon for sure. I'm not 100% sure what's gonna go on tomorrow evening. That could mean that the 2 Trolls and a Brew gets pushed. It could also mean that the other stuff gets pushed. So why would I take Artie? Alright, so reasons for Artie. Traps? Yes. If we're going to focus on trying to make our dog the primary... if I'm going to try to make the dog the primary thing, the primary source of aggro, then I want to be able to focus on my CC. Thank you very much. Dashboard. Are you going to update? This has been killing me. I don't understand why this is not updating. Ritz, thank you very much, mate. So I want to be able to CC from a distance. And then be able to range. And also, the Rune Arm does an awful lot of flexibility / damage. Right? So, like, it's easy for me to put a fire Rune Arm in, and then be able to get the bonus spell power and stuff from fire. And then the same thing, it's easy to switch into like a, you know, that's just like a weapon switch. Like, so there's no reason not to do it. So yeah, hopefully it'll work out the way I think it'll work out. It's on the fence. But usually it does okay. Usually. And also there's a couple of spells that I think are good. I want that Rune Arm from CC. It has 2 imbues. Kenwood Cove? Casting feat's good. I don't know, it's kind of like 1 level of Wizard, like 2 levels of Artie are almost as good. But the Rune Arm really makes a huge difference. I think this goes on this main finger now, and then this becomes the default in that slot. Although we could just wear this all the time and not worry about it. And then this guy, the Sunblade comes in. We start taking Master's Touch. And now our Sunblade's fired up, and also our... Not you. Our 6th level repeater crossbow. I know I said I wasn't gonna... This is also really good. I'm gonna carry this too. You're going to leave. You're going in that slot. Now where did my repeater go? Is it already in here? Is this it? Yeah, this is it. Means like that's gone, this is gone, this is gone. I don't even know if we need anything else right now. Oh yeah, we'll switch to this as our primary weapon. Let's see, I wanted to look at the rune arms real quick. White Titan, that's what I was looking at. I don't think we have any in here, right? No. So we've got Trial by Fire, which is bound to character. I think it's currently set up as level 11. Discipliner is set up as level 11. Or sorry, level 9. Hand of the Tombs, level 9. Greater Radiance Rune, level 11. Greater Ice Rune Arm. These greater generic things, like Ice, Radiance, they come from the DDO store. Which generally I don't mind spending a little bit of money on. Here's a hand cannon, which I think we'll probably play with. Wizardry, Fire. And it's craftable right now. We have a Terra Splendor, which I am so excited for. I did pass Lucid Dreams. I have Lucid Dreams. I think I have one that's level lower too. What's this Chimera's Breath currently set up as? Oh, I passed. Oh, in here? Grab that while we're here. I know. I'll look again in a minute. Pea shooter is really good. The thing I dislike about the pea shooter, it's hard to land everything in one target. I do really like the Chimera's Breath as well. Does Chimera's Breath currently give me proficiency with... It does not. It should. That's fine. Yeah, we may or may not keep this Chimera's Breath. Depending on whether or not we move into electric spells. I'm currently not planning on it, so... Alright, let me scroll through this. No, Todd, you're the way you worded that seems fine. Respectful and still to the point. You said I still missed a rune. Oh, here it is, Lucid Dreams. And I have, I'll show you guys something else in just a quick second. Before I log off. This is 7 now? Yeah. So we're ways away from most of these things, right? Yeah. Okay. So we have, these are our normal, like, bounded character, fiddle with, for whatever reason, rune arms. But if we go down here to test Artie, where are you? My test Artie. They can just make them non-interruptible too. Like they can do that if they want. We have a recoil at 7. So you'll notice that some of these are 2 levels lower than their current, like their normal level. And that's because you used to be able to put the Masterful Craftsmanship on it without doing anything else, and that would lower the level. So we have that one. We have a Flame Warden at 1, which doesn't do us any good. A Candlelight at 3, which currently doesn't do us any good. The Pea Shooter at 5, which we'll drag over there. Chronic at 5, which we will put over there. We have a Flicker at 3, which is one of my favorite rune arms of all time, but it doesn't do us a lot of good right now. This is a new fire. Here is a new Lucid Dreams. So here's a Devourer's Hunger. This is unlikely to be something that, well, maybe. I don't know, we'll throw it over there. Then the Kyber's Shot, which is one that I do really, really like because it gives Moderate Fort. We don't have to fight it. We'll probably also kick over these things. And then there's my Robe of Moderate Fort that I usually put on. So those are like some things that I keep around. Also, let's see what we got here. We've got our Keen Heavy Crossbow Pure Good, which probably should have been what we put on in the first place. If I'm being honest, I need to remember that this guy's got leveling gear. What's this one? Oh, Glorious Obscenity. Here is a level 6 Piercing Holy. Might be good. Might be good. Hellfire Crossbow, probably too late for that to be good. The Paralyzing Dwarf Crossbow. Yeah, another level 2. So we had some level 2 repeaters that we could have probably used, but didn't. There's an Arcane Sky. I guess we'll grab and throw over there. We already have a recoil in the list. Our Treacher's list. Another Trial by Fire. Another Hand of the Tombs. I don't know why that's here, not on Samius getting eaten already. So, like, to give you some idea of Rune Arm stuff, we've got a lot. That kind of stuff. So we'll figure out exactly what we're going to put on tomorrow. And worry about it then. Only raid gear I have so far is Patience Through Peril, and it's worse than the armor from Sunrise. You guys are talking about specific gear that I can't help with, so awesome. Alright guys, with all that, I think I'm going to bounce, get something to eat. We'll be back tomorrow, 12 o'clock my time, approximately. And basically what we'll do is we'll raid out just like we usually do, just like we did last week with Jerry. So we'll just kind of, when he's done, we'll take over and he can kick it to us. Alright guys, thanks very much for the views and the follows and all that stuff. And if you don't, please jump over to YouTube and give us a subscription, follow, whatever it is over there. I really appreciate it. Alright guys, have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Toots.